Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good day in the market. It is January 26th. We're going to talk a little bit about JPOW, SPY, the overall market. Where do we go from here? Gamestop, some technical analysis, the options. Made a little money today. Lost a little, maybe, not sure yet. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. Here's the GME. I borrowed this. The fee went up to 1.2%. Oh, looks like they have 100,000 shares. Yippee. We have a Twitter you can follow us on at HappyMoneyYT, as well as a Discord server. Link for that is in the description. Yeah, so we've been kind of waiting on Jerome Powell to talk for, and the market has too, for a few days now at least. With how much it's dropped before he talked, it seemed like it was pricing in something. And the initial reaction is definitely bearish. SPY made big moves today. It opened gapped up like 1.2%, which is already big. Went up to maybe like 1.5, and then here's where his report came out, and then here's where he started talking basically. And yeah, oftentimes the initial reaction is the opposite reaction, so we'll see if that plays out this time or not. TA wise, I still think it's going to rally. It's so oversold on the daily on the SPY. Hourly, we still have green over the 9 as well as bullish MACD, so not sure if someone's getting liquidated or margin calling or what's going on. But this was a pretty big dump here. He basically just deflected. Jerome Powell basically deflected. He didn't confirm rate hikes in March. He didn't say they're not going to. He's changed it from March to soon. So that could be, you could look at that good or bad. You could say sooner than March, or in March, or maybe after March. But what's crazy now is we have till March. We have quite a while. And the market's kind of in a bit of a limbo now, so we'll see kind of where it settles in. Maybe resistance up at this 450 and some support at 440, and we kind of trade in range for a while, and maybe just set up for the squeeze. Volkswagen, it's kind of, once the SPY settled down, it had a big dump. SPY was starting to settle down. Volkswagen squeezed. But in the shorter term, I think we probably will bounce just because shorter time frames looking bullish, as well as the daily. It's so oversold. I wanted to show you this. It's at 25 on the RSI. It's the lowest it's been on the RSI since COVID, literally since the COVID crash. So if you look back here at the COVID crash, the lowest hit on the RSI was 20, which was this day. Next day, it stayed flat on the RSI, came lower, but rebounded back up, and then it had this relief rally. It's a 3-day little rally, which pulled the RSI up, and then this descent was a little more sustained, and it didn't make the RSI go quite as crazy. So even if SPY does come down and has a pretty violent crash still, which it definitely could. Jerome Powell definitely didn't. He wasn't bullish. He wasn't dovish. He didn't ease the markets. To me, he was kind of the last hope and the only thing that we were maybe expecting to maybe rip back up to 470 or higher, not higher highs, but another high here up on the market. And from his response so far, I mean, I'm not sure. So could consolidate in a range, could just kind of keep selling off, kind of a risk on atmosphere in the market. That's probably what it looks like. But short term, probably rally. GameStop, strange. So Gamma Girl, I don't know. She predicted the August November runs to like a day or two, and I shared it in our Discord. And yeah, she was saying yesterday. And she gave it kind of a 2-day window. So kind of interesting. A lot of you guys follow her on Twitter. She just deserved my follow. I've read her DDs before. They're pretty interesting. She just uses a lot of math to look at the gamma exposure and the delta. A lot of nerdy stuff that I don't understand. So I just read it, and then if she's right, I'm like, all right, that's cool. No, it makes sense though. It's legitimate. You can find some of her DDs here. She predicted the August and the November one, and kind of this one a bit. This wasn't a huge rally. They did kind of short it back down. I think it was whatever failed delivers rolling over. The thing with the upside on GameStop is it's so much more volatile than the downside. The spikes on the upside are crazy, whereas the downside is usually just a slow grind. Kind of imagine it like the opposite of a chairlift and a ski slope. So if you're going up a chairlift, it's nice and slow and just grinding up, kind of like this goes down. And then to the upside, it's like when you're ripping down the mountain, and then it's like if you're ripping down the mountain and then you fall, and then you start sliding down the mountain, and then you're on a double black, and then you just keep speeding up. That's how GME moves in my head. So you start going up on GME, and it just gets out of control quick, like sliding down a mountain or a snowball building momentum and speed. And if they can stop and suppress it, then, you know, that's like, you know, you stopping yourself from this crazy fall down a mountain, but it's inversed on GME. Anyways, nice rip up today. I mean, it was very, very natural, good looking movement on GameStop on the rip. It rip and then consolidate and rip and consolidate, bull flags all the way up. Kind of found resistance at that 120. Max pain this week's 110. And yeah, basically hit resistance and then kind of consolidate up here, VWAP, bounce off VWAP. And then it actually was holding up well. It was kind of interesting. It was holding up well even when the report came out. So this is 14.15. That's right here. So the SPY was starting to get really volatile, and GME just stayed strong actually. And then they actually had, this was like a proper short attack, a shorting campaign. This was serious. Nowhere else in the market was really this was happening when this started. So SPY followed GME today. Not really, but it is crazy actually how it started going first. This is what, 1435? This is 1435. So GME really started dumping, and then SPY didn't really start dumping until 1445, 1450. GME had already come down quite a bit. So a lot of this was not from the weight and the pressure of the market and the SPY coming down. But we're back at 100. It could go crazy after hours. It could go crazy tomorrow. TA wise is looking much better. As we've been saying, it's way oversold, so I don't expect it to stay down here. It's got to bounce out of there at least. We do now have a little divergence on the daily here. Both of these, really this one is the lower one on the RSI, this one compared to this one. So this low on this daily candle is basically higher than this low on this daily candle, and this RSI is higher than that one. So divergence, this one's diverging down, that one's going up. So there's our divergence, kind of showing what's going on. Maybe the 4 hour, you can see it easier. Yeah, might see it there. But even without that now, I mean, just with today's price action, big green over the 9 moving average, a lot of volume today. Was it 7.9? We actually still have 20 minutes left. And then kind of shorted back down, but it's looking good. I mean, bullish on the hourly is good. As long as we can stay bullish on the hourly, I would say we should keep this momentum going. Daily's still going to take some time to flip the MACD and get green over the 9. Even today with its price action all the way up to 118 where we hit, this thing still wasn't flipped. So it's going to take a little time. Maybe it'll happen after hours and we gap up. I don't know. A lot of people are hyped on after hours right now. That's pretty unusual for GME to do that. Not to say it can't, but when it happened back here and made this little rocket, that was pretty unusual. Before that, I can't even remember last time we had after hour gaps. I think it was really like back here in February last year. I'm trying to think if there's any times. Oh, well, right here, but that was from BBBY's earnings and stuff. So, but not typical. I mean, that was months ago. That was November. So not usually after hours bumps, but now that we're in kind of this failed to deliver SLD, ETF, FTD, all the acronyms crossing over and worlds colliding phase mode cycle, maybe we'll have some after hours moves, which could be cool. I think I mentioned it last video. Yeah, I just talked about the cycles and the run up for that. This run up seems a little early if we are saying a month before earnings, but doesn't mean it can't happen now and kind of make a floor and then have another run up into earnings, as we've done kind of here. Really, we had kind of this rally and then kind of a consolidation here, and then another rip for another 3 or 4 days into earnings. Sort of similar to here, rip, consolidation, and then another rally, and then this time it was before earnings and they had a long time to dump it in. I think the double blow kill would be, yeah, rip rally, however, but basically if GME is at its highest point, whatever that can be, if it's 350 or 250, and then earnings, they have their announcement, NFT dividend, whatever announcement that might come out, and beat on earnings, whatever that makes, you know, makes earnings and makes big pockets buy in basically, then I think we could have a squeeze from earnings. Could happen sooner for sure, based on today and the way it looks and increasing volume and just the abnormal price action. Stuff's definitely shaking around, and with the market uncertainty also, it's looking good. Looking good. I did some trades today, maybe too many, I don't know. I did some crazy stuff. I've got a Tesla position I'm trying to open. I've kind of been closing stuff quick. I've basically been opening it during the day, and then in the morning I'm closing it back out, which has been working out because market's very volatile, so holding stuff flips so quickly. But yeah, I can't remember what I had open yesterday. I think I had SPY and Tesla calls maybe. I closed them both for profit, and then I got back into SPY calls. Actually, I forgot that I got back in, and stupid of me. I should have sold on this spike. I'm sure they were up, but I forgot, and I'm fine to hold them. They're just till Friday, unfortunately, but I feel like we might keep coming up next couple days. We'll see. And then Tesla, I'm waiting to get a bearish play on it. Yeah, anyways, here's Tesla. I closed. I bought Brain Chip. I bought the GME clone. Just $500 on it. We'll see. It looked interesting. So it kind of made this head and shoulders, and now it's kind of flattening out. Bullish on the MACD. We do have green over the 9 here. So it's flipped bullish on the shorter time frame. On the daily is what I like the most. It looks like it might just have a bearish MACD today, but very close. When that MACD comes down to the signal and it's doing this and it's consolidating and it looks like it wants to bounce off of that, that looks good for me. And also this big move from here down to here really could have just been an RSI cool off. And I predict GME could have moves like this on its way up, where it hits, you know, 1200, comes all the way back down, gets shorted back down to say 700, consolidates, and then rips back up to another, you know, because once it gets way hot, it's going to come back down. Got to cool off. It's still going to follow basic market mechanics, I think, more or less, just in a much more accelerated fashion into the extreme lengths of volatility. But yeah, so this is Brain Chip. This is pretty similar to GameStop's chart. So I got 500 shares. I'm like, yeah, what if this thing just consolidates and keeps ripping? Why not? It's an OTC, super sketchy. I closed out of my GME options tomorrow. I'd call debit spreads, and I'm thankful I did. Of course, now in hindsight, I closed them out like right here. I said, starting to slow down. I was up maybe $600 or $700 on it. Max profit on it was probably like $2,000, but I think we had to hit like 140. So I just closed it. The only other one I could have closed is this one, but it hasn't really moved at all. Even today, this thing is too far out of the money. So I just left this one. Here's our short put. I've got an 85 short put, so that thing should expire worthless on Friday, which is nice. I'll probably roll it up a strike or a few strikes come Friday for next week. Or maybe I'll just keep the money and put it into, I don't know, some better, more leveraged plays. Here's our 141 puts. I did open up, where are we at on here? Yeah, I'll just show you what I did on GME. I did open up call debit spread. Too early today, unfortunately. The shorting campaign towards the end of the day has been crazy. Once it was holding up here above VWAP is looking natural, and then especially when it was holding up on SPY, I was like, this looks good. So I can't remember where exactly, but I opened up the call debit spread somewhere around here. It's lost a lot of value now because it's just for next Friday. So it's a February 4th. I think it's this one. Yeah, 51% down. Yeah, it's this one. So kind of expensive, but it's a pretty safe play. Break even on it's 120. So because the long call was in the money, I think, when I opened it. So I think we'll probably be at 120 by next Friday. I think that's pretty safe to say. But we haven't flipped bullish on the daily, so you know there's nothing certain about it. It's just this short term. So short term will turn to long term, hopefully. So I have that one. Not a huge gain, even at max gain, but that's just because it's a safer play. Huge gain. Yeah, $3,000 on that one if we end up at 150. That's my only exposure for next weekend. But then I've got short puts. That's not going to do much. And I've got all these for February. So put credit spreads, call debit spreads, and these 5-10 calls. These 5-10 calls, it's crazy actually. You want to see how IV and market makers screw you and all that. So I bought the 5-10 calls around here somewhere. We're trading at 108, 110. Bottom, this thing started to come down. They went up in value. So they went up 20%, 25%. They're up like 30%, pretty much all throughout here. And then as we started to rip here, I think they went up to maybe 35%, 40%. And now on this candle down, now they've dropped. Now they've got the IV crush. Now they're down 31%. This is the most they've been down. And the stock price has been much down further, and we've had velocity to the downside. So spreads got wide, and now they're just it's crazy how that happens. So these are just, I mean, it's a small position for me, so it doesn't mean a whole lot. These are just in case we've actually squeezed. I mean, if we're going to go into the thousands, if you really believe that, then you want strikes as high as you can get them, and basically as many calls as you can get. So those are the cheapest ones I could find. I don't know if we'll squeeze by then though. We'll see. That would be sweet. Oh, what other plays? Birds. Oh, I got some. I shorted some calls on birds on its rally. I was able to get a $10 strike or $10 fill on five strike February calls. So 23 days on that. Sold 40 calls at the $5 strike for $400. Had that order out there for a while. Option chain on birds is still really weird, but it's nice to get back a little bit. Birds had a big day today. I think it was up like 10% at one point, maybe more, but now it's back down with a lot of stuff. There's SPY. BBIG I also opened up. It's also looking potentially good. We'll see. It's kind of making a stair step, kind of bull flags. This is a red. That's not really bull flag. This one is, but it's got that bullish MACD. It's grinding up, even though today was kind of a downer day. And then if you look on the daily, it's kind of doing the same thing that BrainChip's doing. It had that big peak, coming back down, potentially consolidating before another rally, and see where that MACD and signal are hitting. RSI is now nice and cool. So yeah, I got a little exposure to this one. The premium is crazy. So I got a spread. Could have done a credit spread, but I want a debit spread instead. I've been doing a lot of debit spreads lately instead of credit spreads. It is $3 and $5.50 call debit spread for next Friday. So nothing crazy, but break even on it's 341, so it's a little safer. Because my one call is in the money or close to the money. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, at any moment, GME could pop. Any moment. TA still looks good on it. Ups and downs. Gotta take in some profits on the way up. It's a mind game. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on Discord. Have a good evening. Peace out.